so important for you to defend the use of the term Israeli Apartheid to describe Israel's policies? Why are you willing to engage in protests and possibly civil disobedience to defend your right to use that term?
Because it's an apt term. Right? It's a term that describes the reality of what's going on in the West Bank and Gaza. When you look at particular kinds of laws, a pass system, a system where people of different religions and ethnicities are required to live in particular kinds of areas, where travel is prohibited, the apartheid wall that's been built up, second-class rights for Palestinian citizens of Israel, all of those things combine to produce a situation which is stunningly similar to the kind of system that was set up in South Africa after 1948 and continued until the early 90s. So it's the term that describes what's going on. And I think its political significance has to do with the fact that it opens up the possibility of a non-violent form of resistance and world pressure against this system, which is very similar to the struggle that was waged around the world in terms of apartheid in South Africa. Boycott, divestments, and sanctions on the Israeli state until they agreed to abide by international law and tear down their apartheid system. So the term Israeli Apartheid is both apt because it describes the situation and because it helps locate a kind of politics which was very successful in dismantling apartheid in South Africa.
Are your experiences in anti-apartheid activism in the 80s in any way similar to what you're experiencing right now?
There was certainly pushback. I remember organizing a conference on apartheid for the Board of Education, and we would get letters from the South African embassy demanding that this conference be cancelled, that it was biased, that we obviously didn't like white people, all sorts of reasons. There was never so much of a pushback as we find today. Certain right-wing elements in the Jewish community have managed to stir up so much fear among many people in the Jewish community that they feel that they're under attack. This was quite evident last year when Martin Gladstone, who produced a video about the parade, demanded that Pride put on extra police to protect Kulanu, which is a Jewish social group. QuaIA's Against Israeli Apartheid has never had any quarrel with Kulanu. In fact, some of our members have been members of Kulanu at different points. But Gladstone's attempt to get a police cordon to protect Kulanu, of course, frightened the wits out of people in Kulanu because they thought they must be being attacked. So I think it's the manipulation of those kinds of fears that we're seeing which have produced this kind of hysteria over the term that we're faced with now.
What Palestinian queers, what Israeli queer activists, what the boycott from within movement has been saying and demanding of Pride is that this is an apartheid and we demand your support. Why are you refusing, why are you turning your back on this community? Why are you saying apartheid is not an accurate term?
What we are saying is that it is not about the Middle East conflict. Well, our position is not about that. Our position is about saving Pride. Our position is that if we do not resolve this issue, there will be no festival in which to march this year.
So is this the typical Canadian way of solving an issue by just not talking about it? Is it not like just don't talk about the issues that are in the community? Is that what you're saying?
It's also quite interesting that their attempt to suppress speech around this, their attempt to ban the speaking of the words Israeli Apartheid has meant that the term Israeli Apartheid has been in every newspaper and every newscast, on everybody's lips. So when I talk about their hysteria, I mean, it's also an hysteria that blinds them, right? Because if they had said nothing, the 200 or so marchers that the QuaIA is able to pull out would have marched in the parade with everyone else. Some people would have liked us, some people wouldn't. It wouldn't have been an issue. They have made Israeli Apartheid a household term because of their hysteria around this issue. And they have pulled a whole lot of people who didn't know anything about the situation in the Middle East, but who hold very dear principles around free speech, freedom of the press. They have pulled those kinds of people into our movement and therefore those people are now beginning to understand the real gravity of the situation in Israel-Palestine and how apartheid is a completely apt term to describe that situation.
How does QuaIA intend to respond to the ban on the terms Israeli apartheid? Will there be? Will you still use it in the parade? Are people willing to engage in civil disobedience? How far are you willing to go?
Yes, I think would be the short answer to that question. The term Israeli apartheid will be front and center in this year's Pride Parade. I'm told that Carl Ray threatened to start arresting people this morning in some sort of a statement. I've been arrested around free speech issues in the queer community once before when I used to work on the body politic, and so being arrested to talk about my politics in my community is something that I'm quite willing to envisage. Different people will have to assess the kinds of risks they can take around this issue. Not everybody would want to be arrested, and they may protest in other ways. I think what we'll see is a real diversity of tactics around this in the parade, but you can be very certain that Israeli apartheid will be communicated to all those people who are coming to participate in and watch the parade this year. It will not go away.